Right, today's show we're going to be covering everything at TNA. I don't, I don't like talking about negativity with TNA, but this has got to be said. There's been the whole lawsuit thing, where Billy Corgan lost that, and now he's forced out of TNA with the Fight Network saying they're going to pay Billy Corgan off and basically they've had a shuffle round and he's no longer with the company. But apparently, to his Twitter feed, he has not been paid yet. So we don't know if this is going to lead to another lawsuit with TNA or what's going on. As a TNA fan myself, who've watched TNA from day one, it is concerning. The reason is it's concerning for me because there seems to be no real information. You know, we've heard from Fight Network, but we haven't heard anything from Dixie Carter or anything like that. Really, we've seen with their website saying that Corgan is no longer with the company and Fight Network are associated and things like this. But it would be nice to hear her side of things, to hear from actually her, because in the lawsuit that was all done through her lawyer. It makes me think she is a little bit shady. I'm not going to lie on that one. There has been a lot of people saying, oh, Dixie out, Dixie out. Right, I just want to clarify a few things now. Dixie Carter has been at TNA since day one. People that don't know, when Jeff Jarrett started this promotion, his investor pulled out at the last minute. And Dixie Carter stepped in. And ever since then, Dixie Carter has been an owner of TNA. Now, I don't know if her stake's grown over time or what the agreement was, but that's a fact. So Dixie has seen TNA rise to the top, and she's also seen it fall to the bottom. Now, I've noticed there's been a lot of, with their YouTube now, they're doing pre-shows and stuff like that. And to me, it still gives me that feeling that TNA are trying to be like the WWE. It's like people blame Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan for what happened in that time period. It's actually making me think, was it them? Was it not? Wasn't it Dixie saying to them, no, let's do this, let's do that? That's concerning me. What I really wanted to happen, if I'm honest, was I was hoping that the Fight Network would buy TNA outright and approach Vince Russo. Now, I know there's a lot of Vince Russo haters out there, but what you've got to realise is TNA in their best days was when Russo was writing. Because all the way up till Hogan and Bischoff came in, it was Vince Russo writing. He was writing everything. He was the brains behind TNA, really. And then he said this. Bischoff came in, ripped up the script, said, right, we're not going this direction, we're going that direction. Which still doesn't make sense to me, because before Hogan and Bischoff doing, TNA was going brilliantly. You know, Young Bucks, everything else we had the right Raw star. You know, WWE was starting to fear us, and then we just fucked up. Plain and simple, we fucked up. But it seems like there's a lot of fuck-ups at the minute within TNA. It's another little thing I heard on the Taz show, what I totally agree with. TNA had an amazing Raw start, amazing run, but there was no acknowledgement. And that's the business side. People in the business side weren't working correctly or promoting TNA in the right way. Now, I do feel that Dixie Carter should be leaving TNA, and I think TNA needs a complete new person to run the company. I don't believe it's Billy Corgan. I don't think Billy Corgan has got enough experience in the business to take over and run the ship. It needs to be someone that understands the business and has worked in the business a long time and understands it. You know, My top guy would be Paul Heyman, but we know that can't happen because of his contract with the WWE. So looking on who's available, you've only options you've got really is Russo, JR. Do you know what? Even Taz, you know, the way he talks on his show, and he talks about little points and, you know, what wrestlers should be doing, how to engage fans and stuff like that. He'd be a perfect person to run TNA. Not completely run TNA, have someone there with him, but he understands the business, and that's what TNA need. You know, they've got guys in there like Al Snow. Now, Al Snow should be working very close with Dixie Carter and helping steering the ship. But I get, from what we've seen in news articles and what's come from TNA, that she's going to run her things her way, if you like it or not. And that's what we seem to be getting from her. Now, the only way we can really judge this is to see what comes next. Because I feel they need to have an authority figure in TNA on television-wise. I do believe someone like Sting or Bully Ray. I know he's been teasing about the Royal Rumble, but I'm just saying, if TNA was going to put this shit right, you know, you'd have someone like Bully Ray sort of type character as the general manager, you know, the no nonsense, you know, GM role, and not have Dixie on screen. Have Dixie stay in Nashville. But it seems TNA, what's really missing to me is the X Division again. Yes, I know we've had the X Gold, but where's all these high flyers gone? Where's Tiger Uno gone? You know, they've lost great talents. Manic, amazing wrestler. Mandrews, who's an amazing wrestler, but not used correctly. You know, there was no Dar. I know he came from British Boot Camp, but what an amazing talent he is. Look at the way he performed in the Cruiserweight Classics. This is why I think they need someone with a wrestling brain running the business that knows wrestling, knows wrestlers, and can help put TNA the right way. Right, now that bit's all over with, let's discuss Impact. It's a good show. That's all I can say. And the annoyance for me is the Hardy's entrance. Now, it's visually. The lighting doesn't change. I would have liked sort of more of a spotlight on Remy when she plays that piano, more of a spotlight on her. And then the light comes on Matt as well when he comes in, and Jeff. They need to do something with the lighting on them. Because they haven't got pyro, they haven't got anything like that, so they need to do a better lighting arrangement with them. I've lost faith in the Grand Championship. I think that title needs to be dropped now. I don't think it was the right way to go. They do need another division, and the division that I have said for a long time that would fit TNA is a hardcore title. Now you think about all the Monster Balls matches they've had people like Raven, all those hardcore types that's been in TNA in the past. So they could easily fit a hardcore division because you've got Abyss, you've got Bram, you've got people that will go to those heights. And I think it makes TNA a bit different again because there isn't a hardcore title in the WWE. So do different. You know, Raw is doing a terrible job with their cruiserweights. So why isn't TNA thinking, right, let's get this X Division right. Let's be better than Raw, but let's do it the TNA way. I can't understand why that's not happening. You know, whoever's deciding what goes on Impact, it needs to be sorted. I'd be happy to have Bruce, what was his name? The one that got fired for not re-signing Velvet Sky. Him. They should bring him back. Or Russo. They need someone with that business wrestling brain in that company steering the ship. It was okay with Randy Rhodes, building up to that rivalry. The main event was alright. It was just an alright show. The only thing that really stood out was the Hardys match versus Doc. But that's about it. Except for that, it was just bland. That's the way it is at the minute. They put on good matches, but there's no excitement anymore. You know, there used to be things like, oh my God, look at... You know, I used to go and talk to my friends and go, well, did you see what they did on TNA? Did you see they did this? There's none of that anymore. It's so placid. There is a slight disconnect. Same with Raw. There's a disconnect. TNA really need to sort their shit out. Because I've been a fan from the start. So I've watched TNA before they had the Spike deal. So I'm just carrying hope. That's all you can do as a fan now, is carry hope that TNA gets sorted. Another thing that worries me now is TNA have lost Challenge. Now, Challenge has done a lot for TNA. They did a lot with the British Boot Camp. They did a lot pushing TNA forward. I can understand of us English fans getting frustrated because of spoilers where we were so behind. And, you know, Impact Wrestling on their Facebook page used to post results and we're like, what are you doing? We haven't seen it here yet. What? And it is very frustrating. But you're always going to get spoilers. You know, when people see in it live and you're taped, people who've seen it live are going to spoil it for everybody else. It's the way it is. You're always going to get leaks. But if it is because TNA have got to deal with another network that's going to get us TNA a little quicker than Challenge did, brilliant. If not, then shit. You've lost your UK provider, bollocks. Europe is your biggest provider. It's Europe. I think it's China as well. No, India. And there's a few other places that TNA are big in. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done. A lot of work. They've got a few good characters, but there's no standouts. They dropped the ball with Bram. Bram was amazing. Stone Cold was complimenting Bram. And then they dropped him off. Well, all we can do is hope. As a wrestling fan, that's all we can do is hope. But I think that's about it for this show. I am back on tomorrow with Raw Talk, if I don't fall asleep watching it. And then next day we've got SmackDown. But I want to hear about what you think about TNA. What you think they can do to improve. What would you do different? Don't forget to post that in the comments. I do read comments as well after we've been live. So, is there anything else that I'm missing? Do you know what? I think that's it, folks. So, big thanks to listening to Slamdown Podcast. And we'll see you tomorrow with Raw Talk.